It's Tuesday, the 3rd of March, 2026. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Morning, Michael.
Sean, before we get into it, a very quick reminder, of course, that if you're listening on Spotify and you are listening through the Your Daily Drive playlist, or even if you're just generally listening on Spotify, hit follow on the podcast. That playlist is going to disappear in the next couple of weeks, very, very soon, in fact. And if you do not follow us, you may not be able to find us again. So hit follow, do it today. Let's go. Story number 1, fighting in the Middle East has widened, with a dozen countries now drawn into the conflict that began when the US and Israel attacked Iran, killing that country's supreme leader. Bombs continue to rain down in Iran and parts of Israel as well, while the US reported its first casualties. Oil prices surged yesterday, meaning higher prices at the Bowser in coming weeks. US President Donald Trump said his country would avenge the death of 3 servicemen and that the conflict could go on for another 4 weeks. Video footage, Sean, if you've seen this, it shows massive explosions across Tehran, the capital of Iran. US Central Command saying it had struck more than 1,000 targets in the country over just 48 hours. More than 200 people were killed. The Australian government has said that it supports the actions of the US, adding that it stands with the Iranian people. But critically, Defence Minister Richard Marles said we did not provide any practical support.
It seems that the timing of the attack over the weekend surprised many countries. They'd been planning for many weeks, but there's a gathering of leaders, including the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and the US and Israel took that opportunity to attack. The action has sent the region into war. In Lebanon, residents awoke to the sound of explosions after Israel conducted retaliatory strikes against Hezbollah figures. Bahrain's military said it had intercepted Iranian missiles and drones. Qatar told its residents to remain indoors except for the case of absolute necessity. Now, Qatar hosts the largest US military base in the Middle East.
Yeah, it really is broadening, isn't it? Because then you've got Britain's Royal Air Force Base, Akrotiri, hit by a suspected drone strike, according to Sky News. The UK's Ministry of Defence has since confirmed that there were no casualties in the incident, which unfolded at its base in Cyprus.
Yes, that's right, Michael. The UAE said it's been targeted with ballistic missiles and drones. Kuwait's also targeted. Oman was targeted, although that apparently was an accident.
Okay. The other part of all of this, Sean, and this is moving into story number 2, is the impact on flights in and out of the Middle East. They remain affected. Of course, Etihad, Qatar, Emirates, all suspending services. Virgin Australia has cancelled a lot of international flights, while Qantas has said there's been no impact to its flights, including between Singapore and London.
Yeah.
11% of all international travel out of Australia last year passed through the Middle East. It's a lot.
Pretty amazing. Oil prices jumped 13% yesterday, though. They fell back a bit. They're kind of fetching about $78 a barrel. That'll feed through to petrol prices. The big question is how long the Strait of Hormuz will be closed. It transports around 20% of the world's oil. Gold also rose yesterday. It's trading around $53.50 an ounce.
All right, story number 3. Let's talk about markets, Sean, because the February reporting season is now over, and earnings beats outnumbered misses by 2-1 based on UBS numbers, while guidance upgrades exceeded downgrades by 3-1. 12 ASX 100 companies, so big companies, moved by more than 10% on results days, and AI investments by companies like Commonwealth Bank, Telstra and Woolies look to be paying dividends.
Yeah, so, let's run through it really quickly. Banks, bumper profit, Commonwealth Bank, the others doing pretty well. They did quarterlies. The miners did well, depending on what commodity you're on. Miners did well, energy companies. Not so much. Highlight for mine was the fact that BHP's copper division, which includes gold and silver, contributed more earnings than its iron ore division. The retailers generally did well. Wesfarmers owns Bunnings. That was doing pretty well. They're like Harvey Norman's outlook statement wasn't very good. JB Hi-Fi was pretty good. Telstra, good result. Disappointments, well, tech stocks, not always because of earnings, but because of the threat of AI, also healthcare companies.
Story number 4, Federal Parliament was back yesterday with Angus Taylor leading the Liberals for the first time, but it was really Pauline Hanson that grabbed the headlines after Labor Senator Penny Wong pushed to censure Hanson for her comments suggesting there were no good Muslims. Leader of the opposition in the Senate, Michaelia Cash, said that while, of course, the Liberals were against vilifying people on the basis of religion, they would not support the motion.
Pauline Hanson called Wong's motion a stunt, then she left the chamber, followed by other One Nation senators. The censure motion was passed, with Greens and independent MPs joining Labor. Apparently, in the House of Reps, Energy Minister said that Australia has 36 days of petrol supply available, which is pretty good. Also, a momentous day for Anthony Albanese and Treasurer Jim Chalmers. They both had birthdays yesterday, same day.
Oh, happy birthday. Last one, story number 5, change of pace for this one, Sean. Survivor, which is one of the most successful reality TV shows of all time and a personal favourite of mine, has just kicked off its 50th season, joining the shortlist of US programs like Saturday Night Live and 60 Minutes that have managed to both stay on the air and really keep their audiences long enough to do so.
And basically just test contestants' ability, physical, mental, social strength, based on a 1997 Swedish series called Expedition Robinson. Now, it runs more than one a year. That's why it's gotten to 50 seasons in about 30 years. Immediate success, more than 50 million people watched Survivor's first season finale. The show's success and cheap production costs inspired the greenlighting of plenty of other shows like The Amazing Race, The Mole, even The Bachelor. Kind of can thank the fact that we all are voyeurs and like watching real people get overwhelmed when on camera.
Yep.
50 seasons later, still putting up the numbers. It's got this massive back catalogue. It was nominated last year for an Emmy after accumulating 462.4 million viewing hours during the year. That's not bad. More than double any other nominee in the category, more than the rest of the reality competition nominees put together. So still a winner.
Yeah, still going strong. There we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks, Michael.
It is Tuesday, the 3rd of March, 2026. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can actually find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.